Hello and welcome to Entertain This. It's a podcast about movies, TV shows, and video games. My name's Tom. With me I have
Mitch.
And we don't have Hayden, but we got something better than Hayden. We got Jeff Gladstone.
Woo!
How you doing, Jeff?
I'm doing great, thanks. I'm doing great.
Well, Jeff here, I see you're an actor, a producer, a composer, Canadian, and you were on Goosebumps.
Yes, all of those things are true.
And I understand you got a movie coming up here, Kryptic.
That's right. Yeah, Kryptic. It's a weird one.
Should be coming out May 9th of this year, right?
That's right.
So before we talk about the new movie, let's get to know you a little bit.
Sounds great.
I see you hail from Canada. Whereabouts in Canada?
That's right. So I grew up in a place called Calgary, Alberta, which is kind of near the Rocky Mountains there. But I've lived in Vancouver for the past 25 years, Vancouver, BC, on the beautiful West Coast.
The nice Pacific Northwest.
Territory. Yeah, Pacific Northwest. Yeah.
So do you still root for the Flames or do you root for the Canucks?
That's a great question. You know, I grew up playing hockey, but I kind of faded as a hardcore fan for sure. But I do. My brothers and my family are all big Flames fans, so you know, but I'm not really particular personally. But I enjoy it. I watched some of the game last night, and you know, it's a good time.
This is the first chance I get to talk to somebody who actually watches hockey, because no one else I know around here does, down here in Atlanta, Georgia. I'm an Islanders fan myself, being from Long Island originally.
Oh, nice.
I only got to see the Islanders once at the old Nassau Coliseum, and I was a little kid, and I still can't remember who they played.
Do you know the Calgary Flames, which was our team growing up, was started as the Atlanta Flames. Did you know that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they entered the NHL the same year in 1972 as the New York Islanders as expansion.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I'm not from down here in Atlanta, and it gets maybe cold enough for ice maybe 3 to 4 times a year. So I never got into
hockey. And it's only on the road. It's not on a pond. It's not on a lake.
Just the road.
Yeah, you could ice skate on I-85, but that's really about it.
That sounds fun.
So how does a young Calgary-bred fella who ends up in Vancouver get into the improv acting business?
Well, you know what? In Calgary, we had it lucky. There was a fellow named Keith Johnstone who taught at the university. And he had started an improv company in Calgary that's called the Loose Moose Theater. And that's basically where I grew up. We used to go watch shows there in high school, and then I joined the company in university. Keith was he taught the first year acting at the University of Calgary, but he invented a lot of the improv techniques that are still. He was basically starting at the same time as like Del Close and the groups in like Chicago there. But Keith had started working in London. He actually worked at the Royal Court Theatre and taught playwriting. And he worked with like Samuel Beckett and Harold Pinter and some of these, Laurence Olivier and some of these, you know, he worked in the theater scene, but he was a real like subversive kind of anti-establishment kind of character back in the day, always like pushing the envelope and kind of testing things. So he ended up in Calgary through a weird series of coincidences, and he was an incredible teacher, like you know, yes and like word at a time stories. A lot of the theater sports, these were all kind of his inventions, and so we just really lucked out. And the Loose Moose Theater Company we were all young, like the age range was like 16 to 22. And we played theater sports and some of these improv formats, and it was an incredible place to grow up and learn about theater and kind of get a start.
I don't think I could ever do improv. I mean, I occasionally have that gift of gab to just start talking out of my butt at the drop of a hat, but I don't know if I could do it on stage with people in front of me. It's like, ooh, panic. It's like, do something with your hands.
Yeah, dude, that is exactly it. I mean, now I do some teaching, some improv, and that is exactly how everybody feels. It's so funny, you know.
And around what year is this that we're starting out in the improv game?
So for myself, this would have been 1998.
We brought it full circle.
Full circle. I don't know if that was on the interview at the beginning, but that was just a joke we had about that year. But yeah, 96, 97, 98 was when I was at the Loose Moose, kind of starting out there. And I was a terrible improviser when I started. I tell people it takes 10 years to learn how to improvise. It, took me longer than that. But
well, what made you want to get into improvisation and, acting in general?
Well, I mean, I was one of those, like as a kid, I was a big Star Wars kid and writing movies. And my dad had a little Super 8 camera, and we used to use it and make movies and stuff. I loved movies. I loved acting and storytelling as a kid. And so it was, I was like one of those kids.
Okay.
And then, high school, we used to go, I also had a great high school drama teacher. Just, big shout out to the teachers out there. They really, without teachers, without great drama teachers and stuff like that, it doesn't get passed on, So yeah, we had a great high school drama teacher. And then of course, going to see the theater sports at Loose Moose was just like incredible. Like they kind of like at that theater, the groups like ahead of me, like, I don't know if, anyway, some notable comedy kids in the hall and stuff. Some of them were from there, and some other great folks. Anyway, it was just, it was a really exciting thing to go see, because it was theater, but it's like you're allowed to yell at the actors, and, and they had, and like you could get brought up on stage, and they were doing stuff with like masks and improvising with the sound, and it was just so fun. It was such a fun place to be, and really caught the bug. So we pretty much, my brother and I it was actually honestly my brother who kind of dragged me out there in the first place. But then we spent every weekend there through the 90s until I moved to Vancouver. So yeah, just awesome. Like surrounded by a lot of talent and a lot of great energy and some cool opportunities.
Was there ever a play there called Moose on the Loose at the Loose Moose?
No, but there should be.
Dang.
Well, you said your brother drug you there. Does he still do acting or anything like that?
Yeah. He started his own theater company that's called Stir Theater, and we worked together in that company for a number of years, and we were starting out doing lots of tours and whatnot, and he's still doing it. He does like the Fringe tours and stuff, and he just actually was in New York with a show he wrote with another artist about Juliet. That's like really fun comedy. So yeah, no, we're actually writing a play together right now.
Moose on the Loose.
No, I don't know if you know this story, but it's about the Astor Place riot.
I heard of that one.
The Astor Place riot.
New York in like the 1840s, and there was two Shakespearean actors performing Macbeth across the street from each other, and the fans of each side were so like worked up about who was the better Shakespeare actor, it broke out into a riot, like a massive riot.
Wow.
Like 10,000 people, and like the National Guard was called and all this stuff. And we just like love the story, because it's like, wow, people used to get that excited about theater.
I was like, they were passionate about their choices.
This is before like pro sports. Actors used to have jersey numbers on the back.
Exactly, right?
That'd be like a funny modern twist on it.
Yeah.
I mean, there was once a riot in Quebec when, or in Montreal, the NHL suspended Maurice Richard, and a huge riot broke out because he was like the ultimate player.
Yeah. Honestly, yeah, in Canada, it's the hockey. That's
the lifeblood of the country.
Yeah.
So it seems I guess from my understanding with a lot of people we've talked to who do like more classical theater, it's very like studious. It's almost like, you know, a lot of like the people like with the turtleneck holding the skull kind of look. And then improv almost sounds like the WWE, like you're getting pulled out of the audience and they're throwing chairs up on stage and it's just like, just go for it. And you're like, I don't even know what.
Dude, no, you've called it exactly. In fact, Keith Johnstone, my improv teacher, when he was starting this stuff out in London in the 50s, him and some of the other directors went and watched a wrestling match. And they literally were like, God, isn't it amazing to be in like a theatrical kind of setting? But the audience, they're like, this old lady's like swinging their purse over their head. Like, they're like, how can we get people to act like this in the theater, right?
Like, how do we get that chaotic energy into stage?
Yeah. So improv, at least in the Keith Johnstone kind of school, is like considered like theater meets professional wrestling.
I mean, and someone who's done classical theater and you have this huge background in improv, do you find it harder to do one versus the other? Because it's like it kind of bleeds over.
Oh, that's a great question. I mean, I love it all. I love Shakespeare, you know, and like you kind of say, like the preparation and the rigor of like getting into the language.
Mm-hmm.
I love it. I love the play. I love Shakespeare. I love the stories and the plays and stuff. And the funny, like the longer, like when I started, I definitely felt like all these different interests, you know, and improv and acting, and then theater to film and improv to film and all that stuff. But the more I do this stuff, the more I find like it's all really connected, and there's a heart of improv and spontaneity in any kind of performance practice, because at the end of the day, you got to be so in the moment that if something happens, you know, that you didn't expect, you got to run with it, right? And I say that's the case with Shakespeare, and you know, and that's definitely the case with working on film. You know, your partner does something different, or a fly comes into the room. It's like if you pretend like it's not there on stage or on film, it's like it reads very false. But if you can just be very open and just go with the impulses and flow with what's happening, then it's so I feel very grateful to have this background in improv, because I definitely use it in everything I do. I feel
It's got to be a great skill to have in a wheelhouse. It's like you spent like a meeting or something, and something starts going, and you're just like, man, this would be great material. And then you're just like, let me just try it now. It's like, sir, this is a PTA meeting. You need to calm down.
Yeah.
Well, doing the improv and stuff, has that helped as far as like getting roles, and when you have like the longer speaking parts, just to being able to kind of play with the lines a little bit, as far as like, you know, what's needed for the on-screen dialogue and stuff?
We'll be right back.
Ever wondered what a rhythm-based stealth game with dinosaurs might look like? Or a farming sim in space with zombies? Welcome to the Gaming Blender podcast. I'm Matt, and with my co-host Scott, we take a random game genre and random game mechanics, blend them all up, and pitch wild, totally hypothetical games you've never heard of, and maybe shouldn't. New episodes every other week. Hit play and unleash your inner game dev. No coding required. Search the Gaming Blender on your favorite podcast app now.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it definitely has given me a practice to kind of be ready for anything, and it's given me a lot of tools just in my preparation too. And again, just, you know, to shout out Keith Johnstone again, like, you know, he had just some really cool ways of looking at things. So he's like, okay, often like every actor is going to do a scene in this kind of your first kind of like expected way, or you're a robber breaking into a house, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's okay, everyone's going to play the robber, like, oh, you know, whatever. And he's like, but what if you try the scene, you know, like he's very guilt ridden, and he's like feels guilty about everything, or, you know, what if you try being a robber who's like really low status, you know, like what if you try doing the scene like it's a love scene, and he, you know, and he sees the painting and it's like he plays with love, so that you can just try things wrong, right? You could go, okay, that sounds like the wrong way to do this, but sometimes you try it and there's something, you discover something. and it's so in that regard, it's definitely given me lots of tools. Yeah.
See, if they were like, oh, we want you to play like a burglar or a robber, and like you always picture like the black turtleneck, the ski hat, the mask, maybe a small flashlight, and they break in. It's like he sees a painting and he looks at it and he pulls out a pen out of his like pocket and autographs it like he did it. Looks at a remote, takes the batteries out and throws them across the room and just puts them back and and then goes on about like it didn't even happen.
Yeah,
that'd be the kind of improv I would want to bring to it. Just chaotic, like cat energy. And on the way out, like he looks at something like on like a a mantelpiece and just knocks it off. It's like, we don't need that.
I mean that right. Play a burglar scene like you're a cat. You're like the spirit of a cat. I mean, I would love to see that.
I want you to do that role in a Calgary Flames jersey.
In a Calgary Flames sold.
And then there'll be another guy breaking into a house across the street, and he'll have a Canucks jersey on. You guys will pop out at the same time and see each other.
Rival robbers. I like it.
It's writing itself.
Oh my God, it's right there.
So this is all in the 90s and the early 2000s. You're in the improv, you're in theater. How'd you transition into wanting to do television and film? Was it like let me call an agent? Did they reach out to you? Were they like, hey, here's a part?
No. Hell no.
I had to go out and find it.
Wasn't that simple, huh?
Oh, I wish. I was walking down the street and someone said, "You're going to be a star."
You're going to be a star, kid. You're going to be huge.
No, God, it's honestly, I feel like I'm a slow learner. But like I moved to Vancouver and when I kind of moved to Vancouver at a time, this is now early 2000s. Vancouver was coming out of a real film boom. Like it had been really busy and there was lots of work and everyone was working. And it felt like right when I arrived, things kind of like dried up. It's like the X-Files was shooting there at that time and it got a lot quieter. And because my background was in theater and improv, I hadn't had a lot of film training. And, I felt good about my acting. I had some good auditions. I had a couple little things, but nothing really clicked for me in the film world when I first moved in. So I worked in theater and I had a great time. I did lots of touring. I got to work on lots of cool projects, like new plays and that was great. So it was honestly just like about 10 years ago, like where I took kind of a break and then I would come back and I always was curious and wanted to do film, but I definitely worked pretty exclusively in theater. And then about 10 years ago, I started taking some classes, going back to school and again, like working with some great teachers out in Vancouver, and started building my skills. And then, about 10, 12 years ago, I kind of started booking small things, commercial here and there and stuff, and then started building up my resume. And then in the I guess around 10 years ago, I made a connection with a director in Vancouver named Bruce Sweeney. And he's a writer, director who writes these really fun, quirky comedy, drama, kind of sometimes romantic. He has a lot of different styles he works in, but they're all very comedic. And an actor, a theater actor I'd worked with who'd done some films with him, she's like, you know what, you'd love this guy. You guys would really connect because he has this way of developing his scripts where he really works with the actors and there's a very kind of improvisational and like creative energy in terms of building the character, building the story. And I was like, well, that sounds great to me, right? Because
why am I not talking to him right now?
Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, because most stuff I'd go for, I mean, in Canada, most of the film and TV auditions, you're going out for a waiter for a thing. And I always felt a little bit kind of the atmosphere in Vancouver, at least at that time, was like, oh, don't do anything outside the box, right? Like these are these big American productions and like everything needs to kind of fit what we think they want, And I always felt, and I think that was in my head too, like, oh, I want to do this right. Like, and anyway, so meeting Bruce was awesome. So I ended up actually taking a class with him and working on some stuff. And then we, grabbed a beer and we started, hanging, and he kind of started talking me through this one film he was working on about this guy who was kind of like this character who kind of was how would I put it? He's a little bit maybe on the autistic spectrum and kind of like a quirky kind of guy
a touch-ism.
I was like, yeah, this all sounds like me, honestly. So,
are you just describing me to myself?
Yeah, and we're chatting through the story and building this character, and at some point I was like, hey, if you ever make this film, I'd love to be considered for this part. I really had to work myself up. And he's like, oh no, dude, like I'm writing this for you. Like I'm imagining that you will play this part. And I was like, sweet, right? So
it's like, wow.
Yeah, right. So I was so stoked because so this was where I got to make a nice jump from, little day parts or whatever in film and TV and commercials and whatnot to like something like a lead role in a feature film with a great ensemble cast where I was a part of the creation of it. And so yeah, that film's called Kingsway. And that was really one of my first leads in a feature. And that experience really, like I was hooked and just having the experience. So I've now made 2 films with Bruce Sweeney and we're working on another one right now. And once I did that, I was just very hooked. And then things really started clicking for me. And I pretty much the last 5, 7, 8 years, I've kind of taken a step back from the theater and been working pretty exclusively just in film.
Well, I've noticed that we have IMDb to reference, but looking through IMDb, you've got a lot of stuff just within the last couple of years on a lot of big projects.
You've been a busy man.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I'm very, very lucky because it's, the work has been pretty slow. Honestly, it's like up and down. We had a busy couple of years, but I've been very fortunate to, I tell this to people too. I'm like, as an actor, you want to go for everything, right?
Mm-hmm.
Put yourself out there for everything. But I'm like, I always tend to book the stuff that I feel like, oh yeah, this really is me. Like it feels like this is a show I really like. This is a stuff I love working in. Like, the stuff kind of finds you when you really, when you know what you like.
When you get out there,
I've been very fortunate.
What aisles to shop
Twilight
on.
Zone, amazing. Resident Alien, super fun show, great team.
Looking at your website, it says
it's Fire Country. If you guys have seen Fire Country, it's a great show, and the cast and team on that was just like awesome. Great.
I had not seen it
on there. So yeah, I've been very fortunate to work on some great projects.
So we were talking about your acclaimed role in Goosebumps in the Mummy episode.
Yeah.
It's so weird because as soon as I saw that, it was like this one was Slappy the dummy, right? The dummy one. Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember that used to scare the crap out of me when I was a little kid. So it was funny seeing it. It's just like, wow, he was in Goosebumps. It's like obviously the newer versions, but it's still cool that it's still happening.
Yeah, it's awesome. It was really, like, it was a very small thing I did on that one, but it was a lot of fun. I was actually shooting one of the Bruce Sweeney films during that, and I really wanted a mustache in the Bruce Sweeney film, but I shot this one day on Goosebumps in the middle of our shoot, and they wouldn't let me have a mustache.
What does Goosebumps have against mustaches?
Yeah.
I don't know. They said it wasn't in the period.
Mustaches are timeless.
Well, that's what I thought.
There's a mustache style for every decade of every century.
Exactly.
Did they let you have a mustache in Supernatural?
No mustache there.
Because I saw that was one of your TV credits. What was your role on Supernatural? We had to watch all 15 seasons a couple years ago.
It's one of my favorite shows, so I made Hayden and Tom watch it.
Yeah. It's a great show. That was another small one. That was kind of just when I was getting more into film. But that, as you know, ran 15 seasons in Vancouver, and my episode is like the third last episode.
Okay.
Who do you which was your part? Are you a demon, an angel, a innocent bystander?
I was a demon, but I'm trying to remember her name, who was amazing. She was a regular on the series, she's an incredible person who was amazing to meet. But let me see if I can remember her name. She was blonde and she was on the show for years, and then she left the show. And she had some health. Now I'm embarrassed because I don't know enough. I can't remember enough of the details, but she had some health things that affected her mobility.
Maybe Samantha Smith. Maybe. Trying to remember.
I think I made it to the last season. I think I got like to the first episode.
She was on it earlier. She was on it earlier seasons, and when she had these health issues, she left the show, and she was gone for years. But then they wrote this part for her, where that kind of incorporated her mobility, things. And
was it like the Hunter girl?
Rachel Miner. She played a character named Meg Masters.
Oh yes. She started off as like a demon in the first season, I think.
Yeah,
and then she came back later on as like a ghost, and then she came back towards the end of the series. I can't remember if she was a ghost again or not. But I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, and I can't remember, but she's like a leader. She's kind of like the main villain antagonist in the end.
Mm-hmm.
And this was a part where my improv training really came into play because she had these mobility issues, but she was great with the lines and everything. They wrote her character so that her power was that she could just snap and like kill you, right?
Mm-hmm.
So my scene is like I'm pleading for my life. I'm like, please, I didn't need to do this, And she just snaps her finger, kind of waves her hand, and like my neck snaps, right? And
did you just like jerk your head to the side like?
Yeah. Oh yeah, and I practiced for hours. I have all these videos still on my phone of me standing here trying to crack my neck in different ways and trying to see how it looks.
That's funny.
Yeah. So that was fun, and she's like amazing. She does a lot of charity work now and stuff, and she was a very inspiring person to see someone who, to have something like that, like a mobility disability, and to have that challenge, and how she shifted into kind of like a lot of charity work, and that the team wrote this part that was able to incorporate that. Like it was such a cool example of just making the work accessible, and she's a great actor, and she just like nailed it. So yeah, that was a cool thing to be a part of.
I think that's just a telltale sign of a really good production where you bring people back in. It's just like, hey, we changed gears just because you were part of this at the beginning, and now you're going to be back in it again. And like, we will work with you the entire time and help.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
You don't hear a lot about that anymore in today's crazy societies.
No, it's true. It's true. It can be very competitive, and people can get very self-centered about their own success. But honestly, and it's true, like in acting and in the arts, like generally those people don't stick around too long.
Mm-hmm.
Because at the end of the day, like people want to work with people who are fun and nice to work with and good people, and
don't want to work with a bunch of like cutthroats and pirates who are pretty much.
Yeah. Like if you're the most talented person in the world, but you're an asshole, like,
yeah,
they're out there.
Yeah, there's a few out there, and they still get a lot of work and a lot of money, and I wish they'd just pay me not to be in film. But alas.
Sure. Alas.
Well, you had mentioned being on Fire Country. How did you manage to get into that role?
Well, it was, audition like I do, and the little part, he's like a criminal who's brewing Bruno, which is prison wine, which I researched that, and it's vile. It's like, oh my God, it's like fruit cocktail and sugar and moldy bread in a bag
and heat.
And then, yes.
And time, and it smells terrible. Colloquially known as hooch or buck.
Yes.
We know a thing or two.
Bruno. You have heard this. They strain it through a sock.
Ugh.
Hopefully a clean one.
Disgusting. And the guy I played, he's brewing it in the latrine.
Yeah.
Because they're all inmates, right? And so to hide it, he's brewing it inside of the toilet. Like,
the old Toilette Merlot.
Toilette Merlot. Ooh, that's, sell that.
People would probably not understand the connotations when they saw it.
yeah, there'd be
like, hey, like this is classy. This is French.
yeah, better that they don't know.
Yeah.
Unless you know, ignorance is bliss, they say.
Exactly. So really, sorry, yeah.
What was the audition like? Like, I mean, what for people who aren't in the know or who have auditioned for a television role or a film role? What's the audition process? Like, do they bring you in?
It has changed completely in the last 5 years. So back, in the olden days, before 2020, you would print off your resume and your headshot, and you'd drive yourself to the casting studio, and you'd wait for an hour sometimes, or sometimes more, and you'd come in and you'd do your 3 lines for the casting director, and then you drive home. And then if you're lucky, you get a call back, and then they would bring you back, and the director would be there. You come in and you do it for the director a couple of times. If you're lucky, they'd give you some notes back and forth. Like when I did Supernatural, that was the process for that one. But after 2020, everything went to self-tape. So now you get the audition from your agent. You ask your roommate or your girlfriend or whatever, or your dad, as I did once, to read the lines for you, and you film it on your phone, and you edit it in your phone, and you send it in. And so I was with a partner and was auditioning a lot, and eventually she was just like, "Fuck this, I'm too busy." So anyway, I found a great person who I just adore, named Brittany, who she has a little studio set up near my place. So whenever I get an audition now, I call her up, we'll book some time. I pay her for her time, but it's important, and it definitely makes work better. So I go work with her, and she is a great coach, and she films it and she edits it, which is awesome. So
is she putting in special effects?
Not really, but occasionally she's been like, "Oh, let's throw some music under this," or we'll definitely have fun with lighting. Like if it's kind of like a spookier kind of role, like we'll have fun doing some moody lighting, and very, very collaborative and very fun. So yeah, I taped with her, send it in, and then just off that tape, I got it. My agent reached out, said, "Okay, you're on hold for this. That means you're one of a few choices, and it might recur this part. Oh, that would be great." And so then I got the call, like, "You're in it." So it's so wild now. Like you do these tapes. When you show up on set, like you've never met the director, you've never seen the other actor, they've never seen you, right? So it's like
everybody's meeting each other for the first time.
Yeah, everyone, you're kind of meeting for the first time, like on set. So it's I'm glad now I have the experience, because I think if your first gig you ever booked off a tape, it would be pretty nerve wracking to show up on a set for your first time and not have at least have had that experience in the audition room where you have to meet the director and stuff. So. But I love it. Like, there's a lot of people, I'll say, out there who really are frustrated with the self-tape model of auditions. They really miss getting that direct feedback from the director and being in a room with someone. And I feel for that, like it is very different. And there is nothing like being in a room and working with a director in person. But personally, I really like the self-tape thing, and it's given me an opportunity to really, I feel like, advance my practice, because I get to try it. I get to watch and see what it looks like. And you go, "Oh, I thought I was doing this, but but it reads like that," And so for me, it's been great, and I really enjoy doing the tapes. So yeah, just off the tape, and then showed up, and that was that.
So I guess in the glory years or the golden age, it would be you're sitting there in a big room and you're eyeballing everybody else who's there going for the same part, and you're like, "He's not going to get it. And like, that guy's going to be my competition." Then some guy walks up and shakes your hand, and you're like, "Get away from me." Like I'm auditioning.
Oh, yeah.
I don't need that. And then you get to the tape version. It's kind of like you can do it, watch it, and go, all right, film it one more time, and then kind of tweak it and put together a really good product and launch it.
Yeah, exactly.
But I mean, you probably had a leg up with the improv.
Pardon me?
I said you probably had a leg up in the in-person with the improv to just kind of like gauge, I guess, the reaction and audible on the spot.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. And also, even like a thing that is the improv that helps is that, like, you talk about the experience in the room, which you're right? Like, everyone's going for the same thing. And I used to say I'd show up to an audition and it's like 30 guys that look exactly like me. like, what the fuck?
It's like the Spider-Man meme.
Yeah, exactly, right? But I found I definitely started like, okay, then you realize, oh, like you get to know people and you work together on this or that. And so it also on the positive side could be a nice check-in and you, hey, I hope you book this one, because really I do believe there's parts for everyone and there's work for everyone and we all are better off when we support and are positive, community members in that way, so.
It makes the
but yeah, felt it. Now people are like, fuck, I never see anyone, right? And I never see other actors because I film everything at home.
Man, but I guess for the people that are trying to define who they want to cast, it works for them because it's accessible to a lot more people. But yeah, I imagine it would be a lot harder because there is a lot more people, and it's accessible so much. So.
Well, exactly. They say that now. Oh, they used to see, like 20 people for a role. Now they're seeing 50, right? So people have said that. But I'm like, but isn't that a good thing? Like, it means they're going to find better actors, or like have more, find that special thing a bit easier.
Yeah, but in the olden days, days before COVID, you could actually drive and you see the people that are committed and wanted to be there.
Put the effort to get there on time.
Walk across town in the snowstorm.
Uphill, both ways. And it was 108 degrees outside. I don't get it either.
My lines blew away in the snow.
I left them on the bus.
Left them on the bus? I mean, these are all true stories.
I wonder if anyone's put ads in there. Like tapes that they send off because everything's got ads now. Like YouTube ads are going out of control. Everything's like Netflix, all these ads and like that pop up or commercials. It's like you're in the middle watching some guy's screen take, and then it's like, hey, here at the Dollar Shave Club, we.
That's I mean, that could be a way to pay. There's maybe a business idea in there.
I have about 7 good ideas a year on average, and that was probably number 5.
And he doesn't follow through with any of them.
No, I follow through with none of them. I pitch them entirely to other people to let them run with it. Because I can't be bothered.
As an actor, you could buy advertising spots on other people's self-tapes. Like as they're watching someone else's audition, be like, hi, I'm Jeff. This 10-second spot, just say hi. I'm also an actor.
I understand you're considering my pal John here, but why not Jeff?
Have you thought of a Jeff for that?
Check out the link from my.
Just send them straight back to yours.
Now back to the audition.
This sounds like a parody of like real life and we're just slowly writing it into existence. Jeff, I really hope you take some improv to these ideas we're coming up with and make something out of it and send it to us.
I will. Yeah, and I'll credit you properly.
You don't have to. So let's talk about your upcoming film that's going to hit theaters May 9th, Kryptic.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about this movie, but without spoiling anything.
Yeah, without spoiling anything.
Or spoil the crap out of it. We don't care.
I'm sure people he's worked with would care.
Yeah. What can I say? Like it's man, it's wild. Like it's the writer or the director Courtney Roy. She's Kourtney.
Mm-hmm.
She's a photographer by trade, is most of what she does, and she's from Canada, from Ontario, but she lives in Paris and works as a photographer. She does these incredible self-portraits and and just has a really cool imagination and a really cool aesthetic. And so she teamed up with Paul Bromley, who's a screenwriter who'd written a few kind of a lot of horror films in that kind of genre, and they teamed up and wrote this just wild story. So I like right from the beginning when I like read the scene for this, I was like, okay. And this is again where like my theater background and my improv background, I'm like, you know, and in Canada, as I said, a lot of the stuff you see is maybe it's Hallmark movies or these kind of TV shows, but this was something that was so outside the box and very much something that like I felt like the kind of movie I would really love. You know, I love my David Lynch and Cronenberg and these real kind of spooky out there psychological, you know, horror type things. So I was just I loved the scene and then read the script and was like, oh man, this is wild.
Like, I gotta be in this movie.
Yeah, I was. So I just worked my butt off, and so yeah, like the story. I mean, here's something I'll say. Like when we did the premiere at South by Southwest in Austin, you know, a lot of people. So what's it about, right? Or like, what did it mean when she does this and that, and you know, and it's one of those like I'm like, hey, listen, the film's called Kryptic.
It's supposed to be Kryptic. A little bit of a mystery.
It's not one of those films where like there's a real clear cut explanation for everything that happens. Sorry to say, you know, it is very cryptic, but it definitely takes you on a ride. And basically, you know, in short, there's a woman, you know, at the beginning, and this part of the screenplay where they started was based on a true story. Where there's a group of women hiking in the mountains, and one of them goes missing. Okay, and so they've kind of taken this at the beginning of the film. So this woman is on this hike, and she kind of wanders into the woods, where she kind of sees this kind of monster in the woods, and when she comes out of like meeting this monster, she's completely lost her memory of who she is. And she comes back to the group and they're like, well, where's this person? And it's like, she doesn't, you know, and they're like, are you Kay Hall? Like, is that you? She's like, I guess so. And she's just like, fuck, I don't know. She's like, looks in her pocket. Like, okay, here's some car keys. Okay, there's my car. You know, like, oh, here's some ID. Okay, my name is Kay Hall. Okay, and here's my address, right? So she so it's like that's how it starts. You're just like, it's like this woman who doesn't know who she is, and she gets kind of thrust on an adventure where she ends up on the trail of this other woman who's like a monster hunter who disappeared, and then she ends up kind of on the trail of this woman. And so my part comes in at the end when she ultimately kind of takes on a bit of the identity of this other woman and ends up going back to her home and with the husband who's been kind of looking for her. So I'm like the husband at the end who she returns to, and it's a really fun role because when you first see him, he's, oh my God, he's so happy to see her and she's home, and then like piece by piece as you meet him, his character starts to unravel and you realize, oh, there's something kind of fucked up about this guy.
This is not good.
This is not what it seems. He's being very cryptic.
Yeah, and I'll leave it there.
Well, I definitely look forward to seeing this one. The trailers look very, very good, very interesting, well shot too. I mean, like you said, she was a photographer, so she knows how to paint do the shots and paint the pictures for you.
Yes, exactly. And I'd encourage like looking up her Instagram and her work and stuff. It's just incredible. And the DOP, the director of photography on the film, was a guy named David Bird, who's from London. It was a Canada and UK co-production. So some of the team is from London, and he is an incredible DP. And the two of them, Courtney and the DP, worked really well together. You know, like, she has the imagery and the visuals, and he just had a beautiful way of kind of setting stuff up. And, you know, together they created a visual world that's just very cool.
That's awesome. Kryptic,
Yeah.
May 9th in theaters. Check it out. Be on streaming May 29th, according to the internet, which doesn't lie to you.
According to the internet.
Okay, that's good to know.
So before we leave, is there anything you'd like to plug for yourself, for others? Now's your chance for your own ad about yourself.
You know what? Well, I'll say this. I started an improv company with some friends out in Vancouver called Tightrope Theater. And so if you're ever in Vancouver and want to come see an improv show, come down to Tightrope.
Come on down and walk the tightrope.
And
Literally and figuratively.
yeah. And yeah, a couple other projects like in the works, but no release date set. I'm in a film called The Bearded Girl, which is made by the same production company that did Kryptic.
Okay.
So that'll be hoping like next year, hit some festival circuit. Should be fun. But yeah, I hope people check out Kryptic, and it would be great to hear what you think. I'm sure people will have lots of questions.
We need to get Jeff back on the show. All right, so you said when we talked to you, this is what was going on. None of that happened. I watched this whole movie. I got notes.
Yeah, what the fuck was going on?
Well, Jeff, thank you
Thanks
so much
guys.
for taking time out of your busy day to sit here on our little show, and we hope you enjoyed being here.
My pleasure. A lot of laughs, a lot of fun. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And thank you to the listener
Yeah.
for listening to this episode of Entertain This. I was Tom.
I'm Mitch.
And Mr. Jeff Gladstone, and we'll catch you on the next one.